Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Man Speak. I'm your co-host, the J.R. Stewart.
I'm your co-host, Tommy D. Duncan III, otherwise known as TD3.
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. If Uncle Assad's girl starts acting up, then he takes a friend
Do you take a
and a
friend?
second
Okay.
friend and her roommate. True story. I am Uncle Assad Kabelon, your co-host.
It is Wednesday night, gentlemen, March the 4th, 2026. And if it is Wednesday night,
It's certainly Black Man
Black man
Speak.
speak.
But hey, if you do take a friend, make sure you wear a bulletproof vest because you just may need it these days. Never know.
Oh, I'm semi-retired. They don't have to worry about that no more.
You semi-retired.
Semi-retired,
So
yeah.
you, instead of taking the roommate headed free, you only take one of them, huh?
Two friends and a roommate.
So you just take
Anyway,
all of
Lord
them?
have mercy.
You take all of them, you take half of them.
I was young. I ain't young no more.
So anyway,
No, that's
welcome to Black Man Speak, everyone. It's good to be back live, streaming again. So I know we have some audience makeup that we need to do. So with that being said, let's do a big shout out to Count Basie for our theme music, to our own studio in Fortisfield for our virtual studio, and welcome everybody back. And with that being said, please hit that like button, notification button, tell a friend if you're watching the show live, help spread the word. And with that being said, let's get into our topics for tonight. What do you have for us?
All right, folks, we have got a few things that we're going to focus on this evening. It's obviously been a while since we have been live, and we have lost a couple of folks within our community. We want to pay a very brief homage to a few folks that we will line up here very briefly. I have something new that I want to kind of work on and tweak that streamlines that process. But then, of course, today being Wednesday, we had a lot of primary elections around the country. We'll talk a little bit about what we saw and what our thoughts were on that. Of course, everybody who isn't literally in a casket right now knows that we are in a war in Iran. And then, of course, last week, there was the State of the Union address. And maybe if we have a little bit more time, we can find a couple of minutes for a few other fun topics. But let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to do a silent homage to folks we have lost within the last month that we have not been able to acknowledge appropriately, as opposed to me kind of speaking through those. I'm just going to give a short video and then we'll get started with the show.
Okay.
Yes, gentlemen, we lost quite a few folks within the last month. Of course, probably the most recent and the most visible is Jesse L. Jackson Sr., of course, civil rights leader, founder of Push. And of course, nobody can, of course, forget Demond Wilson from Sanford and Son. They have a couple of folks within the professional football community, and of course, Mr. Macklemore, who was one of the lead singers of the Fifth Dimension. So we've lost a lot of giants.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on any of these folks? Not spending too much time on it, but of course, paying homage to folks who have made an impact on our lives.
I think
Well,
it's very unfortunate.
oh, go ahead, Uncle Sal.
I think it's very unfortunate when we see those young athletes pass. They're exploited for their time,
You're muffling a little bit. If you can hear me,
Or am I muffling? Can you hear me now?
okay, now you're doing better. Now you're
Yeah.
doing better.
I say so. Those young brothers, athletes, they are exploited for their size, and their abilities that they've built over years of sports and training and things like that. And I'm sure within the professional ranks, they are taken to the limits of their abilities in addition to performance enhancing substances and things like that. And then later in life, it causes health problems, and then they're gone. I'm sure they have children and spouses and mothers and fathers and all these types of things, and then they're just gone. So I think that's very unfortunate.
So it just points out that we as black men who have a terrible record of going to doctors and managing our health care have to get more involved with our own personal health. Just can't leave it up to your doctors. Can't go every 5 years uh, to get a prostate check. It's something that you have to do ongoing. Like you said, when you come out of professional sports, when you're working out, exercising, eating right, growing to sizes that are unhuman, strength, speed wise, once you stop all of that, then your health can drastically deteriorate very quickly because you can't maintain a healthy body under those conditions. Overeating, too many starches, too many sugars, and of course, if you add drugs on top of it, it just makes it worse. Uh, so we all need to do better with managing our health, going to the doctor, getting checkups, getting our labs done, knowing exactly what's wrong with your body, what's out of sort, so you can have a chance to address it. Don't wait till 6 men to carry you off to that field to put you in the ground to think that that's the time to try to do something about your health. It's too late at that point.
I would agree, and it's something that I think we've all heard. But if you are a man, or if you have someone who happens to be a male that is a significant part of your life, don't wait, as my dad would tell me, until you get to be a ripe old age to start checking that. You have to make sure that you take care of your colon. You have to make sure that you're looking at your cholesterol, your blood pressure numbers.
Yes.
Prostate is another issue that we deal with because of the types of food that we eat as well. And unfortunately, for black men in particular, we have the lowest mortality rate, if my memory serves me correct, of all demographic groups, gender and ethnic in this country. I want to say the average mortality rate of black men is 69, and a lot of them are by preventable causes.
True. And on top of that, get you a better crop of friends if you have any friends who are willing to tell you when you're looking sick or when you're gaining weight and things are not looking right. So, unfortunately, my friends let me gain 350 pounds and nobody said a word. So, damn it, died twice for carrying too much weight.
What
Anyway,
what that means, Jimmy, is you have to actually get outside the house so they can see you and they can tell the
yeah,
difference.
I was very visible back then.
Oh, well, back then,
Book
okay,
club meetings and social events and speaking and my friends just sit back and let me balloon up to 350. This nobody said a word.
gotcha.
I
Well,
said,
what if I could just say for a second, um, part of that is the culture that we live in now, and everybody's concerned about judging somebody or body shaming somebody,
yeah,
and then it manifests in I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want my man to say that I'm judging him. But it's like, boy, you a real friend then. That's
right.
if
That's
you're not
true.
if I can't be myself with you, and vice versa, reciprocally, then are we really friends? I can't tell you what I'm concerned about your health, or you're gonna get so mad that you're gonna break off the. It's like, come on. So yeah, this whole culture of judging come on, man, everybody don't need to be wearing what we used to call back in the day spandex my body has changed as I've aged, and there's certain things that I don't wear. Because it's not becoming on me. Nobody don't want to see all that. So
Well, and it goes both sides, gender, male and female, because I know that it's not just men, but women are very sensitive to their side as well, and in a lot of cases they don't want to acknowledge, that maybe that extra 10 or 20, 30, 40, 80 pounds, over a year or so. And they get real sensitive on that, and you can't, it's hard to talk to them without getting into an argument, and those are just
uh,
the facts.
10 or 20 pounds. Okay, you could probably overlook 10 or 20. But if it's 80 or 100, come on, man.
Yeah,
But Uncle Sar is correct, though. You got to be very careful because people are sensitive about their appearance. And I guess, I don't know, I guess you got to, if you're going to be a really good friend to this person, you probably should find a way to say, hey, carrying all this extra weight, probably your blood pressure is out of control. You probably bringing on diabetes, a pre-diabetic. You probably vascular disease and other things going on with your body carrying that much weight. It's just not healthy. But to say nothing out of not wanting to body shape someone, you re- you think you're not, you say you're sparing their feelings, and so you're being a good friend, but really, they can be marching off to an early grave, and once they're in the grave, I'll be like our friend Bridget. I mean, I know she lost a lot of weight
yeah,
later on in life, but she was a pretty big girl for most of the time that we
she
knew
was.
her. And I don't think anybody in the book club ever said anything to her about how much weight she was carrying. She was easily 350, 400 pounds at one point. But so I was glad to see that she lost a lot of weight. But the longer you wait to get your health to get in line where you should be, you're just knocking years off of your life. So I know you
Agreed.
might have to deal with that while you're younger, but as you get older, the body's ability to overcome all of the bad stuff that you're eating, lack of exercise, and all the stress you're putting your body under becomes too much at some point. And then we end up dying at 50, 60. We only make it to 69 sometimes.
And especially those of us who still have fortunate enough to have their parents in their lives. One of the reasons that we haven't been here is I have been become a caretaker for my father who had fell in January, mid-January, had hip replacement surgery,
We're
went
praying
through
for them.
yeah, went through a trial having to get through and out of the hospital, and then it was another hurdle trying to get approval from the medical plan that he had just to get physical therapy for an 84-year-old man who had hip replacement surgery. And that was a trial, just trying to get approval from a medical plan that he'd been paying for 50, 60, probably some odd years. Finally got him through that process. But in a lot of cases, depending on where you're going, it's really a money thing. And sometimes they treat you, as a paycheck. And you really, one thing that I've learned over the last month and a half is that you have really got to work hard to advocate for those loved ones, whether they're a parent, child, spouse, or whomever it is. You've got to really educate yourself, as I've had to learn about how this medical system, when they talk about the medical system in this country being broken, and I know, Jimmy, you've gone through a lot yourself. It is something that we have got to figure out how to fix.
Tom, you absolutely do not want to get sick by yourself
No,
because you need someone, an advocate, when you go in there to speak up for you. Because sometimes you're so doped up, you can't speak for yourself. And I wish I could trace through my therapy to your dad because I have too much occupational and physical therapy. I've been in therapy since last June of last year. Like, at what point is this end? And every time I go for the evaluation, all they do is recommend more therapy. Come into the center, go to your home therapy, this therapy. I'm not going to be taking therapy for the rest of my damn life, man. So, um, but yes, you do. You need an advocate when you get sick and have to go, especially if you have to have surgery. If you're under any kind of drug care, you need someone to be sane enough to speak up for you, to ask questions like, what is it for? What are the side effects? What can we expect? If he starts taking this drug or she starts taking this drug. Because if you don't have that, I'm telling you, those drugs have you so loopy. One time I was in the hospital, and I'll make this short. I was at Baylor, and I was so doped up from all the stuff they gave me, which is why I'm so anti-drug now. I was sworn that I had been abducted by aliens, and I was on a spaceship. Um,
that
and
was some pretty strong stuff.
dude, who you telling? I mean, a lot of these people walking around who are crazy, we think they're just crazy because they're mentally off, not realize a lot of times they're crazy because of the drugs they're on. I mean, this stuff will make you loopy. And unfortunately, when I was in the hospital, that time when we had like a week and a half of just rainy days. I mean, it was just dark outside. And so when I was looking through the window, I was like, wait a minute, I don't see no sunlight, no sunrise, no sunset. It's just the same darkness out there until I look out the window. And then I asked for a wheelchair where I could just roll around the hospital. You tell me you don't have a wheelchair? Oh, I was for certain that all these people were just aliens. That I was going to wake up one day wouldn't remember anything, just be back at home with some kind of implant in my body, uh, walking around as they gather information. So I'm telling you, you have to have someone in there who advocates for you. And those drugs have me so loopy, I had to strain to know. They ask you basic questions like, who's the president? Who's the vice president? What
Yep,
year is
yep,
it? And
yep.
I'm telling you, when you loop doped up like that, you'd be surprised how difficult simple questions are. You're like, damn, who is the president? And you say, oh, too many times, you may find yourself in a white jacket being committed somewhere for observation. So, yeah, you better have someone that help you get out of there when you go in.
Yep.
I want to suggest that if anybody's worried about your friends telling you the truth, get you some Nigerian friends. They have no cut
Did they tell
cards.
you the truth?
I was dating this one sister in DC, and we getting dressed to go out, and I'm thinking, I'm looking cute, and I asked her, I said, does this outfit make me look fat? She said, you are fat.
Not looking fat, but you are fat.
So then, when I was living in Lagos, this guy in the state, he was somebody's driver. This little guy, who made friends. And every time he saw me, he'd be like, "Oh, you so fat, you so fat." So one time, I said, "Look, man, you call me fat again, we ain't gonna be friends." So the next time he saw me, he's like, "Oh, you so fat, you even have breasts."
Oh my God.
And I was like, and I'm exercising every day, right? So then the next time I saw his ass, I didn't even acknowledge
Are you
it.
the same size you are now? Or you bigger back then or
No,
what?
I had gained weight. I had gained weight because I wasn't eating and I was drinking a lot and I was
Okay.
swole.
So
But
they weren't lying
somebody
to
come
you
up,
then.
to you and tell you fat, you got breasts. I'm
Well,
like, come on, man.
Well, I guess in Nigeria, they probably not used to seeing too many fat people.
Oh,
Uh,
they have fast food. They're very westernized. All over West Africa, you see a lot of fat people.
you do?
Which is like, yeah, it's just like that. It's Western, very fast food. KFC, KFC is big in Jamaica. They have lines outside of KFC. I was eating KFC in Lagos too, but it was too expensive. But in Jamaica, apparently they use like fresh chicken. It ain't the same, processed chicken like we have. And it's always a line. It's
Damn.
always a line. Yeah.
It was that way when I went to South America, Trinidad, Venezuela, Brazil. Everybody wants American fast food. They're trying to eat the native food.
Hmm.
Excuse
and
me.
that's why they sick.
Right.
We
And
export the
fat.
food to them, then we export the medicine. So uh, that's the way it goes, man. Even the
Crazy.
Asian countries are now starting to get diabetes, high blood pressure, same conditions that we under from eating our food.
In Asian countries?
Yes, indeed.
Oh
This,
my.
the Indians have the largest diabetic population in the world,
In
but
India.
India. But
Yeah,
but but
they
the
still
Asians,
notice.
especially in China, love Taco Bell, love McDonald's, love Western food. But with that comes Western medicine. So
So corporate America and the government are making money literally hand over fist on people's sickness.
Oh
they
yeah.
feed you the food, get you sick, and they sell you the medicine. It's a good circular rotation. So they get you coming in going.
And then if you
Absolutely.
ain't, and then of course if you don't have a will or a trust, then they're gonna take all the money once they put you through probate.
No, if you don't have the money, they roll you back outside on the sidewalk and tell you, go change to go find a park at a public hospital. I'll call you the Uber driver.
Roll you
Yeah,
back, they won't even let you in.
go to a hospital and say I don't have insurance and see what happens. Yeah, they U-turn you, roll you right back out to the sidewalk and say, here's the number to Uber. They can take you over to the public hospital. So we have nothing for you over here if you don't have insurance. Or you have the ability to write a check, a trust fund or something. So
Shameful, shameful. Well, before we get into our stories, I want to acknowledge a couple of guests that we have on the chat line.
what do we have?
Be for real, girl. I think that's Country Ozzy Kate, who is on the chat line. And then we have Miss Tanya Hall as well, who of course does the news in the morning on KGGR. Make sure that you turn into KGGR in radio if you're in the DFW area or
I
digital.
didn't tell you is our new celebrity.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and get to the stories? We're one day past the midterm primaries, and I want to get y'all thoughts on what were the interesting races from y'all's points of view. and kind of discuss what our thoughts are, and then get to the next story. So we'll start with you, Jimmy. What were the races that you were really watching? And
Okay, I watched all of them for the most part. Just out of curiosity, I didn't really have a dog in the race. I'll wait till we get to the end here, start making my decisions. But I just want to say, that mine is a terrible thing to waste. Isn't that the motto for the United Negro College Fund? Mine's a terrible thing to waste. How in the world we get Representative Crockett out here talking about Republicans cost her a race up to their shenanigans when you lose by 110,000 votes uh,
I
over
think it was
two
closer to 150,000 votes out of. I think there was about a
over a
million,
million cast?
a
Yeah,
million three versus a million, and yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, because a large part of her base is in Dallas, and a lot of folks, unfortunately, did not know that they could not vote countywide in Dallas, Texas, and so there were a lot of folks waiting in line because they wait until election day as opposed to waiting early. Even though there was a record turnout for the primaries, you had a lot of folks not knowing that they had to vote in their precinct, and so a lot of folks
yeah.
did
Tell
not
me,
get in.
most of those precincts are Democrat controlled. So we're talking about two precincts where they moved the polling places. So Republicans don't run Dallas County. So you talking about two precincts
Well,
that Republicans actually had some control over, but they moved the voting place. And you telling me that, and then the judge, I think, let the polling place stay open an extra 2 hours. So if you had to go someplace else to vote, you can still get your vote in. But Tom, two polling places in Dallas County, two Republican precincts, are not going to make up 110,000, 150,000 votes. It's just not. I mean, she just legitimately lost. Had nothing to do with Republicans, but then you get
I,
out.
I will say this though. Unfortunately, what the Republicans can own, based upon their strategy, is the fact that they made sure that they had to go to their own precinct because it requires both parties in order to make it a countywide election. And the Republicans, strategically said no in Dallas, and I think it was somewhere north.
What's wrong with voting your precinct? I voted my
No, I
precinct.
mean, there are 254 counties. Nothing's wrong with voting in your precinct, but there are 254 counties in the state of Texas. The majority of them are not large, and there were only two, maybe three counties where they decided, no, we're not going to do countywide elections. You're going to do just precincts, which of course is strategic because over the last year or so, a lot of places have been shut down in terms of where they can go out and vote. And so, at any rate, at the end of the day, you have to adapt. And so, the fact that unfortunately there was not enough communication from the Democratic Party to their constituents to say, look, y'all need to vote early. And if you don't vote early in these two or three counties out of 254, you need to make sure you go to your precinct. That's what happens.
Okay, Tom, it's still an insult by that party and by her. I think they owe black people an apology. That
For
somehow we can't.
what?
For what?
Why do they owe black people an apology?
Well, first time they claim that we can't get an ID to vote, to register to vote, that we're somehow walking around, we can't get, without an ID, you can't open bank accounts, you can't travel. What can you do in life as an adult without an ID? But somehow um, requiring someone to have an ID to register to vote or to vote is somehow racist and prejudice, and somehow black folks will be disenfranchised. But on top of that, the strategy behind not going to a county vote because in areas where black folks control a lot of these boards. Dade County down in Miami, Fulton County in Georgia, the city of Detroit districts there, where you end up with more damn votes than people, resident people, and pets combined. All kinds of shenanigans going on in these with these countywide votes. So we can't trust you to conduct a county vote honestly and give us a fair vote. And maybe it's best to just separate it all out and just do it district by district or
Well, then
precinct
do
by
it all. Then do
precinct.
all of them precinct.
Okay, fine. Well, I have a problem with that.
Well,
But
that is
somehow,
what they do. They targeted.
but somehow going precinct by precinct, now you're disenfranchising black people once again because we can't figure out where to go vote. I mean, it's always us can't figure nothing out. We can't go get an ID. We don't have $20 to get a state license. We can't even sign an affidavit saying we're too poor to get a free one. And then when you get an ID, you can't even figure out what the damn vote polling place is. Tom, we can figure all that out.
This is the first time that's happened in 10 years. And the reason that so many people were wayward is because they've been voting countywide for the last decade. And then all of a sudden they get, and again, unfortunately for all those people who just wait until the day of, they've been used to going countywide for the last decade. And so most of them don't know, haven't been communicated to. And so they go to some places in their county. And quite frankly, a lot of them are going from work. And so they leave work, they go vote, and then they're told, no, you
And
can't
then they
vote
don't
anymore.
watch television. They don't watch listen to the radio. They don't go on social media. Uh, but somehow the lack of communication. When she said her speech, basically, giving up, acknowledging that she lost. Once again, she didn't say any of the things you're saying. She didn't say this was a lack of communication by my campaign office, a lack of communication by the party. She said Republicans
Well,
did this to
quite
her.
frankly, I mean that's just a political thing. I mean, Republicans say it's the Democrats' fault, all the way up to the president, and Democrats say it's the Republicans' fault. So that goes both
Okay.
ways.
Well, you know what?
The real question,
You live in Dallas County. I don't. I live in Collin County.
Right.
So if y'all folks are down there in Dallas County can't figure it out, that's on y'all. I mean,
well,
basically,
the real
Go ahead.
question is why are those types of laws or tactics or whatever being implemented that you need all of a sudden you need this or all of a sudden you need that? Why can't they continue to vote the way they have been
because of
for
what's
quite some?
happening in Dade County, in Fulton County, and some other counties,
Talking about
where you
Texas.
have all kind of
It
voting
was a
irregularities. Uh,
it was a rhetorical question
okay,
because
well,
they're not having rhetorical. I mean, voter regulation.
the actual answer is just too much voter fraud taking place.
It's not in fraud. They've done the studies and it's come back. They're
Too
not.
much
The only
voter fraud
the
taking
only
place.
fraud has been how the Trump administration has been
No,
trying to
it's
eliminate
not the
fraud.
Trump administration, Uncle Sar. Listen, first of all, when you have races that are decided by a few hundred votes, you can say that voter fraud is less than 1% of the vote. But when 50 million people are voting, you're still talking about 500,000 votes that may be illegal. When some votes, some races are decided by less than 100 votes. It doesn't take much. So you can say, well, yeah, Jerry, we're talking less than 1%. But that 1% could be massive on a large scale. And if the 1% is going to you, then you don't see it as a problem. It's only a problem when you're not receiving the 1% or the 2% or the fraudulent votes. So a
So
small
let me
percentage may seem insignificant until you lose a race by a few hundred votes. She lost by 110,000 votes. If she had lost by 10,000 votes, I would say, well, maybe if you could maybe find 10,000 votes down in Dallas County between two polling places. A couple
so
polling places. But the polls were left open another 2 hours to help make up for any confusion that was taking place. But when you lose by 110,000, 150,000, with the vote probably all said and done, that's not a timing issue. That's not I couldn't find a polling place. That is you just lost.
so
Statistically,
back
there's
to
no way to make up that kind of votes down in Dallas County, 110,000.
So back
Right.
to the point I was making was that the only fraud that has been uncovered has been by the Trump administration. We have the guy on tape saying, "I need these many votes," but that's neither here nor there in my position. My position is that all politicians are owned, sold, bought by big business, the elite class, the billionaires, and most notably Israel. And until we get we begin to pick our own politicians and groom them for the things that we want, places like Israel will continue to have. We're talking about healthcare. They got free healthcare. They ain't got to worry about anybody's parent falling and going through rehab like mine and Tommy's, or with your situation. They don't have to worry about that. They have free education. They don't have to worry about student loans or any of that. All our tax dollars are going there because our politicians are bought and sold by the state of Israel and the billionaire class. And in addition to that, whether they're Democrat or Republican, nobody's being held accountable for these Epstein files. All the debaucherous things that are coming out of the Epstein files, nobody's being held account. In other
What
countries,
is
people are
there to
going.
account
And
for,
let me
Oscar?
finish. Can I finish?
Yeah,
Other
well,
people.
just expand on what your comment. What is there to account for?
I will get there. In other countries, people are being arrested. People are being made to resign. Other people are stepping down. If you've been paying any attention, you see in the Epstein file
Okay, that wasn't
raped,
me.
raped, murdered, trafficked, accusations of cannibalism, and all of these things, and there's no investigation about it. You get this Pam Bundy, I think her name is Pam, whatever. She goes before Senate hearing and just starts just all out of character, just berating people, and it's like, well, you. But again, Democrats or Republicans are not holding these people accountable. They're bought by State of Israel and the billionaire class. And until we start choosing and grooming our own politicians, they're not going to change.
Unfortunately, I got to fight through a cold tonight, and because I have another appearance at 10 o'clock to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. We made Epstein to be out to be the most notorious monster in today's history. What did Epstein do exactly? He hired prostitutes. He hired young girls. But last time I checked, not one of them ever claimed that they were forced into a van and taken to the island and put on the plane by force. Nobody was forced to be on the plane doing anything they didn't want to do. Nobody was forced to service these men. A lot of them were rich and powerful. Every one of them came, got on that plane, went to the island voluntarily. Now he was charged with engaging in prostitution with underage girls. Uh, One girl was 16 and two was 17. But even that was still consent. Whatever punishment the state of Florida gave him was
It
for
can't be
first time
consent if you're
offender.
underage.
Okay, so whatever the sentence is, he got treated just like everyone else who engages in prostitution as a first time offender. They don't throw you in Leavenworth because you're a John. So and at the federal level, he got charged the same thing. Then he got charged with transporting prostitutes across state lines. If he had not killed himself, he'd been looking at the same sentence, 2 to 4 years in federal prison. But once again, I'm not here defending Epstein because as far as he's concerned, he's a degenerate. Bill Cosby did worse. Bill Cosby drugged over 50 women and raped them while they were knocked out unconscious. And Bill took some hell for that, but Bill is not Jeffrey Epstein. As much as we criticize Jeffrey Epstein, your career, your job, your life could be ruined just because you're associated with this man. And then on top of that, Bill Clinton still be loved by the Democrat Party, still be loved by women, raped women, forced them against their will. Epstein did not force anyone against their will. He caged them. So my point is, if anybody's a monster, I would put Bill Clinton, Bill Cosby, all the rapists on front of Epstein. But Epstein is somehow public enemy number one. Not to defend Epstein for what he did, but still he engaged in activities that in Nevada would still be legal. He hired prostitutes to entertain his clients. Some of them were underage when he paid the price for them. So let's not vilify. Then you talk about cannibalism and all these other activities. None of these girls have ever come out and testified that any of this happened. I'm still waiting for one of them to just come and say I was forced against my will to do this. Not one of them have ever said that. And they keep parading these women out here like they were victims and not like they were what they were doing. Paid prostitutes. That's what they want.
You
Anyway,
you
what's our
you
next story?
you haven't been paying attention if you're going to say you haven't if
These
you're going to
crazy
say
views
you.
Wait,
I have,
Jimmy, give him an
crazy
opportunity to
views I
respond.
have to speak to and put truth to the exaggerations on this show are not the official view of Black Men Speak. So these are Uncle Sar crazy views, but anyway, somebody got to address them and put the
Why
truth
my
out.
views got to be? See, that's unnecessary. Why my views got to be crazy? But obviously, you haven't been paying attention because even before the Epstein files were released, they had young women telling their stories. I mean, it's as simple as that. And again, it can't be consensual if they're underage, and it's more than the issue of underage prostitution. I mean, man,
It can't be
you got to
legal
get informed,
consent.
man. You got to
It
get
can't be
informed.
legally
Even
consent,
I'm
which is
not
true.
finished. I'm not finished.
But he paid a price for it. He
I'm
was
not
charged
finished.
for underage prostitution. So what more do you want? The state of Florida charged him with that crime. The federal government charged him with transporting prostitutes across state lines. What more do you want from Epstein? I mean, everybody who just anybody he hung out with or associated with, now they gotta pay the price too.
I
Bill
guess
Clinton got
maybe
a free ride.
the
Bill Clinton
question is
raped women.
obviously Epstein is allegedly committed suicide, but what you're saying is that folks who were complicit in these crimes in trafficking young girls who, of course, cannot provide consent, that there should be no accountability, no investigation, no thought put towards those who actually were complicit in the crimes against these underage girls who were trafficked and prostituted.
Listen, what I'm saying is, Tom, is this. Let's say Uncle Sar decides to get married one day, and we decide to throw him a bachelor party. And
No,
we,
no, but no, do
what?
that. You flip that. I don't want my name in the analogy. No, 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 no. I see where you're going with
You don't want to
no.
get married?
No, I
Okay,
don't want my name in this analogy. No, I do not.
then
And no,
fine. Then.
I'm not
Some
intending to
other,
get married.
some other random person besides
Okay,
Uncle
let's say
Sar
a random person.
get married, and I decided to throw the bachelor party.
Let's call them Donald. Some married person
Okay,
wants to get Donald.
yeah, okay, some
No,
random person. Since Uncle Sar don't want his name, I want to
no,
an example.
no.
Some random person, um, and I decided to throw a bachelor party. And I go out and hire some entertainment. I don't, I don't do the due diligence checking their IDs. I don't know how old they are. But let's say they 17 looking like 25. Because the streets can age you. And I hire them to be the entertainment. And things are going on at this bachelor party. Is everybody at the bachelor party guilty?
Yes,
If now it comes out that I hired underage prostitutes and I'm charged with a crime,
Is
is
prostitution
everybody at the party now guilty of the crime also?
yes.
is prostitution legal or illegal?
It's illegal in most states.
Okay, so then yeah,
Okay, then if that's the case, how is it that Bill Clinton is still beloved by a bunch of women in the Democrat Party?
it
Because
doesn't
he
matter.
was,
It
he was,
doesn't
he
matter.
was. They were. He and his wife were questioned the other day by the Senate hearings or whoever it was.
Correct.
Yeah, but Trump
What is
didn't
it?
go in.
Jennifer Flowers, Kathleen Willie, 6 other women actually came out, made statements, testified that Bill Clinton raped them, and that's the tip of the iceberg. If there were 6 who came out, there were many more that kept quiet. And somehow Bill Clinton is still
He's not
loved.
the only president who allegedly raped someone, Jimmy. So I mean, the fact that he's
My
beloved.
point is, Tom, is that Bill Clinton has at least 6 women that said he raped them.
Okay.
Epstein had no women that said he raped them. None. Nobody testified that Epstein forced him into a van.
Yes,
and
they
took
have.
him out.
That's all they've been
Put him
talking
on the
about.
plane. Nobody said he forced them to do anything. He hired underage.
That's not true.
He hired women. A few of them were underage. That's
You
his
gonna hire
point.
a 13-year-old to be a
Few
prostitute?
of them were
First of all,
underage.
2 was 16 and 1 was 17. There were no 13-year-olds.
Oh, it was
Few
only
of them were underage, Jimmy.
What?
A few of them were underage.
3. 3 so far that we know of were underage, yes. 2 16-year-olds.
that you know of.
But the point is, okay, I'm not saying Epstein was correct in what he did. He was charged with a crime. He paid his price.
And as you would say, a crime is a crime, right?
Right. Okay, but if you want to vilify Epstein and make him out to be public enemy number 1, and you want to associate with Epstein, how does Bill Clinton get a damn pass?
Well, the thing about it is,
Bill Clinton had 6 women that testified and come out publicly, took the
Well,
public
Epstein
forward.
Epstein can't have anybody testify against him. They all dead. They're dead.
well,
I don't mean to laugh, but they're dead.
He's not dead.
he's dead, right?
He's dead.
So the
But
issue,
anyway, man,
the issue is
y'all hyped Epstein out of proportion, and still, once again, what you can't get around is the truth. And the
So
truth
are
is
you confessing to
the
being an
truth
Illuminati?
is-
Is that what you're telling us?
the-
You don't
the
want it
truth
investigated
is
because you're Illuminati?
that nobody has.
Are you eating
testified
babies,
to
Jimmy?
rape.
Are you
No one
eating babies?
testified to rape against Epstein.
stop us all.
6 women have testified to rape against Bill Clinton, and y'all still love Bill Clinton. That party still loves Bill Clinton, and everybody associates his wife, George Stephanopoulos, Jimbo Fisher, not Fisher, but Rambo, ended up becoming mayor of Chicago after he left the White House. George Stephanopoulos got his own show on ABC. They were both, and
But
the 3 of them were in charge
Yeah,
of doing
yeah.
damage control, of damaging the lives and reputation of the 6 women who accused Bill Clinton of rape. Once again, as far as I'm concerned, Bill Clinton was much worse than Epstein.
of
Y'all
course,
still love Epstein. Y'all still
course.
love Bill Clinton.
of course. But
Of
Bill
course.
Clinton is not the only one implicated. It's not a Bill Clinton thing. It's anybody who was complicit in these crimes.
How about Bill Clinton and his crime?
Well,
So what
they
you
said
saw with
that.
them, not complicit.
It's not the Bill Clinton case, it's the Epstein case, and there are people, including Bill Clinton, who are
How
implicated
about
in
the
it.
people who know Bill Clinton's crime? His wife covering it
So
up.
you're
Brought
just
them
focused
out
on
covering it
you're
up.
just focused on Bill Clinton. It's
I'm
not
just
just Bill
asking,
Clinton.
why don't Bill get the same treatment as Epstein? See, you can't answer that because you're
Yeah,
biased.
well,
See, I can be at least be fair and somewhat respect Uncle Saul when he says he's a little bit independent, although it's questionable because he criticized. He said both Republicans and Democrats. Okay, fine.
You have to
But
call a
once
spade a spade. I
again,
am independent.
Bill Clinton
I'm a
gets a
Pan
pass.
Africanist. I'm not a Democrat
Epstein
or a
is
Republican
publicly
or an
number one,
American.
and anyone associated with Epstein is publicly number one. Bill Clinton committed the crime. Women are willing to testify. The charges were dropped against him. They were filed that he actually did the crime. But Bill gets a pass, and Epstein, of course, is dead.
right. So it's not about Epstein.
Okay, then it's not about people associated with Epstein either. Then if
Oh, it's
that's
not.
no.
Okay, well then let's move to the next story. If it's not about people
All
associated with
right, then
Epstein.
what's the next story?
There was a lot of there are a lot of redacted files that are out, and the unredacted ain't getting out. There are a lot more people than Bill
You
Clinton.
want to go after anybody who Epstein has ever met, ever associated with, ever dealt with,
I'm not saying no. I
but
didn't say ever
somehow
met.
you can't
I
bring it
said
to yourself and
implicated
say
with
Bill
the.
Clinton raped women.
I said
That's
implicated with the
amazing,
crime.
Tom.
I said
That's
implicated with
amazing.
the crime.
You can't attribute the same thing to Bill Clinton. He actually raped women, forced them against their will. Epstein never did that, but somehow you wanna focus on Epstein and Bill Clinton get a
I
pass.
never said anything about Epstein. Quite frankly, I didn't even bring it up.
You just brought up Epstein as a story just now.
No, I
I
didn't.
did.
Thank
Okay, you
you.
did.
And just to be clear, before we close it out, Trump is mentioned in the Epstein files more times than the Christ the faith of the Christian faith in that book, and he's mentioned more times in the Epstein files than Harry Potter is mentioned in all 7 books of Harry Potter. So it's not just Epstein.
Okay, well, that just shows that he's a topic of discussion. So what?
We have about
Oh,
15 minutes. Let's get to the
What's
war
the
in
next
Iran.
story, T?
The next story is the war in Iran. We have about 15 minutes. So,
Okay, well, we're gonna vet it out. What's the next story?
the State of the Union.
The what?
State of the Union. You
State
want
of the Union. Okay.
State of the Union. And with the time that we had, that's probably more than enough if we have enough time.
Okay. Once again, how I thought it was.
And I
It
think,
was,
and I
it was a
think you,
long
and I
speech.
think you, and I think you maybe said the Winter Olympics. I'm gonna have to give that one to you, Brian.
We can take the Winter Olympics next week. There's a young lady who was a speed skater who won gold. I
Right.
didn't know we were really into winter sports like that, but I'm glad to see.
We'll let you lead on the State of the Union.
I'm glad to see that some of our folks are into winter sports, but the State of the Union is what it was. Once again, Democrats not smart in the ground they walk on because they're dumb as rocks sometimes, and they walk right into his trap of having to defend things that are indefensible. You have to defend men and women's sports, boys and women's bathrooms, gender mutilation. You have to defend a simple statement like the Constitution requires you to, as a public official, you take an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, the foundation and the bedrock of American jurisprudence. And then when asked, should the American government stand up for American citizens over illegal immigrants, and not one Democrat can stand up and endorse that statement? I mean, just Trump derangement syndrome is so pervasive that you can't even think straight. They have so much hate for the man, regardless of what he does, and that's just silly. And Democrats go along with this silliness. They think the means justify the end because we're all just supposed to hate Donald Trump, despite what he does, good or bad. There's nothing wrong with questioning the policy, but we should all be on the same page that the American government should do more for American citizens, like Uncle Sarge just said, the free health care, free education, free this, free that. Before we look out, the damn citizens the illegals up in Minnesota get a lot better treatment than your dad did down here in Texas, Tom. Your dad's a citizen. Your dad is a sacrifice for his country. These are Johnny come lately, taking advantage of our damn country, frauding us out of billions of dollars, and somehow the state of Minnesota bent over backwards for them. So should the American government do more for American citizens than they do for illegals? The answer is a simple yes. That's not even a hard one to stand up and clap for. We should all be on that same page. How you go about that, policy wise, we could debate that, but at least that one sentiment we should all be in favor of. But let's go ahead and hear the anti-American, anti-Trump rant that's going to come from the State of the Union speech.
All right, cool. The State of the Union was, for want of a better term, a clown show. And what's more, when you say was something silly, what's silly is a grown ass, old ass man stands up and complains that somebody's not standing up to clap for him. Obama, and I'm not an Obama fan, was called a fair lie. Well, he was called a straight lie in front of the entire world, and he kept his cool. But this dude can't even, because, oh, they're terrible people. They won't stand because it's like, what is wrong with you? So I watched part of it until the show I was watching, they were good. Fact check.
He said nothing about them not standing up. So be honest, man. Come on. He said nothing in that speech about them not standing.
He said these are awful people. I don't know why they won't clap or stand. Whatever the hell he said. He stand up there, grown ass man. He's the president of the United States of bombing the world, and he gonna stand there and complain about somebody not clapping for him. Come on, man.
Republican that said you lied to Obama.
You know what we call that? Do you know what we call that in the hood? Do you know what we call that type of behavior in the hood?
But you didn't say nothing about him or the two women that were constantly shouting out while Trump was speaking. Tell me, I'm not saying some of your facts are not correct, Uncle Saul, but be fair. In your son, you're gonna tell one story, tell the whole story. At least
you won't give me a chance. You keep putting me off. If you want
to be thought of as independent and to be neutral, then at least be independent and neutral in your assessment. But your assessment all seem to be one-sided. But then you say,
won't let me get through a whole
Republicans or Democrats. But we know kind of where you lean.
Still talking
about your statements and your criticism. So it's not what you say, it's what you do. We understand. I understand at least. Because I'm smaller than the ground I walk on. I'm not a rock.
He's still a punk bitch.
I'm still a what?
A punk bitch. That's what he is. He's the president of the free world, quote unquote free world. And you're gonna stand up there and start crying because these people over here ain't standing up and clapping for your nonsense. That's punk bitch behavior.
He just pointed out what a shame that is that you don't stand up for American citizens. But you think that's funny though, that
it's hilarious.
That whole party that I'm inclined to think that you support, even though you claim you're independent, doesn't stand up for.
I'm telling you to your face, Jimmy. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm not an American. I am a Pan-Africanist. That is my political position. That is my religious position. That's my theological position. That's my economic position. So let's be clear. Don't accuse me of anything else. I have just told you. You ain't got to
get. I hear you talk. I hear what you're saying. And what you're saying.
But I got sense enough to call a spade a spade.
Okay, I hear you talking. That's all you're doing is talking. But from your talk, I know when you go in that voting booth which side you're voting for.
You're not going to see.
Pan-Africanism is not on the ballot last time I checked.
You're not listening.
Not on the ballot last time I checked, Uncle Son. I know you don't that you do vote.
No, I do not. No, I do not. I don't participate in this sham of a government. They asked Gandhi, what did he think about democracy in the West? He paused for a second, and then he said, I think it'd be a good idea.
Well, it's interesting that the folks who call this a sham government, y'all all here enjoying the freedoms and the benefits that this sham government provides you, but you don't leave.
Freedoms and benefits? And we've been over there. Give me my check, Jimmy. Give me my check, and I'm out of here. I left once, but I wasn't prepared. I had to come back.
What check are you
owed a check. Give me my check. Okay, but just give me airfare out of this piece. Give me airfare, and I'm gone. You ain't got to tell me twice. I already left once.
It came back. And what happened? It came back.
I had to. I wasn't prepared. This time I'm prepared. When I leave this time, I'm gone, brother. You can stay here with your
once again.
With your
talking,
Republican.
The words are louder than your actions, aren't they? Because I know
But you're scared to leave. You're a house Negro. You're scared to leave. You want to stay on the plantation.
Uncle
Where we
Saul,
gonna
I don't
get better
want to
food than
leave.
this? Where we
What am
gonna
I
get
scared to
better
leave
clothes
for?
than this?
This
You
is a
a
country
house
that this is a
Negro.
country that
And
I
in
served
those days,
for.
as
And we
Malcolm
got
said, they
about
called them they
is
called them house
now
niggas.
that y'all now that y'all have
Once
been able to
again, I
theorize on
served in
this
the
JR
military,
and
put
Star,
my life on the
let's
line
go
for this
ahead and
country.
move on to the next story as we
No,
have 2 minutes
okay,
left.
we will move on. One last point is that I served in the military, put my life on the line for this country. I don't want to leave. I'm not scared to leave. I've left the country
Stay here,
before.
stay in there. Good for
I've been in a
you.
lot of different countries. So, but I don't want to leave. I love America. But I'm saying your
That's
anti-rant
clear.
against America and against the president are not the views of this show. But if you dislike it this much, if it's this negative to you, in
Why don't
fact,
America
you
change?
will
Don't
let a
tell me to
plane
leave. Why don't
ticket keep
America
you
change
here.
and live, as King said,
I'm
live
not
up
even.
to his
I'm not.
creed?
That's not even reasonable to
They went to
believe
Washington
that
to
a
cash a
plane
check
ticket
because
for a
America
person who
preaches
works at a
this, but it
university
practices that.
who
Don't
gets
tell me to
paid
leave.
last time I
Change.
checked, enjoying the benefits of this country, gets paid
What
from the university, works, and somehow a plane ticket is keeping you here.
Why don't America quit telling me to leave and tell America to
I'm not
change? Live
telling you
up
to
to
leave.
what
I'm
it's
saying if
saying.
you
What's in
don't
the
like the country,
Constitution?
if this country been so
Do what's
bad
in
to
the
you,
Constitution,
then
brother.
what's keeping you here? Yes,
Oh,
that's for
oh, oh,
you.
but it's
Don't do it. It's
always
not
when you
keeping you here.
blame
It's not
the
so
victim.
bad that
It's
you
always
decide to
blame
stay
the
here.
victim.
There must be
Whatever it
something
is,
that's good about the
blame the
country
victim.
because you won't leave. You stay
Man,
here.
get
So
the
you
crap.
must love the country. All this talk about Pan-Africanism and disliking the country, that's just talk. Because if the country is really this bad to you,
And America is
I'm
just
thinking
talk, and
you
you
get a
just
plane
talk.
ticket and
You just
go.
talk as well. So what's your point?
My point is that I love America, you love America. I'm just
Okay,
honest
well then
about it.
leave it at that. Don't tell me to leave. You just love
I
America and
didn't
stay
tell you
here
to
then.
leave. I
You
told you if you don't like the country, you can do something about it.
how many times did he just say leave?
I didn't
You
say
won't leave.
leave.
How many
I
times?
said
Why
if
didn't
the
you come
country's been
back?
this
What did
bad
he say?
to you,
Oh
you
man.
know what? If anybody in a
You're, you're
relationship,
a house Negro.
any place that you are, an establishment, a restaurant, if the service is bad to you, my advice is still the same. Don't go back. Leave. Don't patronize the place. Don't spend your money with
And
it.
none of that,
If this
none of that.
country has been that bad to you that you dislike it as a sham of a government, there are other places that will be better for you. Then fine, it's an easy decision to make.
And
But if you don't
and
leave and you stay here, then evidently don't tell me about how
keep
bad the food is at the restaurant when you
repeating
keep
yourself.
going back.
You
Evidently
just
you must like the
you
food
just
there.
repeat yourself.
You,
And
you don't
you
you don't
and
dislike America.
you
You just like talking
and
that you
you
dislike
are
America
a house
because you won't leave.
Negro.
You know, because plane ticket is not keeping you here in America. The fact that
I can
America is
go
the
I can go
best place
or I
for you
can
to
stay. I
live,
have a choice. I have a choice. You don't have a choice
you do
because
have
you're
a
a house
choice.
Negro.
That's
You're
correct. You
indoctrinated. You
exercise
don't
that choice
want to
every
leave.
day you stay here.
Where are
But
we
you
gonna
sit
get
there,
better
you
food
sit
than
Why
there
this,
don't we
being
take the
Massa?
next
disingenuous
7 minutes?
We
about
sick,
America
Massa?
being a sham.
Uncle Hassan, Jimmy,
Yeah.
why don't we take the next 7 minutes to discuss in our theory why we are in a war in Iran?
The what now?
Why are we in a war with Iran?
First of all, this war has been planned for the last year. It was going to come to a head, and it had to happen. I keep telling y'all, and see, I don't know how it's. Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm not explaining this properly. I do my absolute best to try to get my two sidekicks here to understand. America is a warrior nation. At some point, your true nature has to come out. Just like one of my guests, whose name I'll leave unmentioned, who decides, even though he says this is a sham government, decides to stay here, makes a choice every day of his life, every second, every blink second, to stay here in this country, even though he says it's a sham. That's a choice. We are a warrior nation. At some point, we got to start acting like that. Iran, Venezuela, Cuba. Now, once we deal with Iran, we know that we will have bases all up and down the Gibraltar, in the Straits of Hormuz. We will actually be in control of the shipping lanes for 80% of the world's oil. 80% once we take care of Iran. Once we let the world know that we're on to the world, because Venezuela, last time I checked, had a bunch of North Korea, Chinese, and Russian equipment, and we ran through Venezuela like it was nothing, like they were the Boy Scouts. We said we're letting the world know that one, not only we're a warrior nation, but two, there's nothing that you can do, there's no technology that you have that we can't defeat. Iran had Russian technology, the S-300, the S-400. We ran through the air defense like it was nothing. The goddamn Russians can't even take care of Ukraine, a goddamn country borderline third world, using our spare parts. So once again, this is the new world order that everybody fears. But America has asserted itself as the world. If you're gonna be the world leader, be the world leader. You can't be an 800-pound gorilla surrounded by 40-pound Burmese monkeys, and then you play down to the damn monkey's level. At some point, you got to step on somebody, and you got to kick one of them around and let them know that I'm an 800-pound silverback gorilla, and you're a 40-pound monkey. And when I say move, you move. When I say jump, you jump. That's just the
When I
way it
move,
is
you
now.
move. When I move, what song was that? Who sang that song?
I don't
When I
know.
move, you move.
Well,
How do you,
Trump
Jimmy?
gave up
How
the
do, how do
gorilla the
you?
chance to leave the country. He didn't. So we went in and arrested him and his wife. He gave the same deal to the Ayatollah Khamenei, how you pronounce his name. He didn't leave, and what happened? He's dead now. So
So
yeah,
Jimmy, you said, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. So if I come to your house and tell you to get the hell out, what you gonna do?
if you're powerful enough to get me out of here, then bring it on.
Okay.
But
Okay, okay, that's
my
all, that's
Amer-
all, that's all, that's
but
enough, that's
my
enough, that's enough,
American
that's
Eagle,
cool.
my
That's cool.
44 American Eagle Magnum will serve
Okay.
as a defense for me. But if you
So
strong
you're
enough to
giving,
come in and take
you
me
telling
out
me what to, you
and
telling
push
me
me
how
out
to
of
do.
my
But you
home,
said,
it's fine
but you're
then. Just do
basically
it.
saying it's okay. Okay. All right. All right. Now I know what to use.
Is that not human nature? Whoever the strongest end up with the prize in the end.
It is from a Western philosophical standpoint.
Okay, even from an Eastern philosophical,
No, it's not.
what part
No,
of
it's
the
not.
East,
But see,
what
that's
part
what
of
you
East,
don't know.
what part of
You don't know
Asia has been
anything about
dominated
any
by
of the rest of
force?
the world. All you know is what
What part
they
of
put into your
Asia,
head
what
as
part of Eastern Asia has not
a
been
hired
dominated by force?
mercenary in what you call the armed forces.
What
That's
part of
all
Asia
you
is a
know.
simple
You
question.
don't
What
know
part of
what's
Asia has
going
been
on in the rest
dominated
of the
by
world.
force? The Chinese are not
Other
empowered by
people
force.
have ideas about how to live in peace because you have fed into what this government has pumped into your brain, has messed your head up in these military forces. Oh, it's a dog eat dog. It's a warrior nation. Oh, you got to be able to do it. That's you. The rest of us don't want to live that type of
There
life.
is no rest of you. There's a bunch of crazy folks.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
There's whatever
See what
rest
I
of you
mean?
you're talking about, a bunch of crazy folks
If
who
anybody's listening out there, do not let your child into the military because they will come back jacked up.
first of all, there's no place in the world,
Too many examples.
there's no place in
With
the
too
world
many
where
examples.
military don't protect
I
people.
don't have to show anything.
Everybody has a
Go to your
military.
neighborhood and see.
So whatever
All
this
those brothers
utopia
who went
you're
to
talking
Korea,
about,
to Vietnam,
this
to
communist
Kuwait,
utopia that
they're
you're
not
talking
right in
about
the head.
doesn't exist. And talking
And
over
that's
me
it. That's
doesn't
why.
change anything. This communist utopia you're talking about doesn't exist. Even your motherland of Africa, it doesn't exist. Everybody has an army. Everybody's fighting.
I never said it was
Everybody's fighting to
utopia.
defend what they have. Because if you don't defend it, even Tommy, even
Why
your
are you
buddy,
trying to
your
take somebody's
sidekick
stuff?
Tommy, Tap
Why are you
Man's
hell
brother,
bent on taking
is
somebody's
calling
stuff that's not yours?
for Africa to be
That's
able
the
to defend
problem.
itself. So
That's the
there's
problem.
military
Why are you
armies
trying to take
everywhere.
somebody's shit that's
It
not
doesn't
yours?
matter if it's east, west, or in the middle. Everybody has a
You need to
military to
read,
protect
Jimmy. Go
itself.
pick up a book, bruh. Go pick up
Yeah,
a book.
you know what? And you get a brain because I pick up many books. You know what? I read just last month. I read 14 books. How many have you read?
On what?
You know what?
On what?
Actually, I read a bunch of your propaganda books that you suggested in the month of
Okay.
December.
Okay.
That's how I know
Okay.
just how stupid and crazy your side is, and people who think like you.
My side. I'm
Everybody in the
not a side.
world is
I'm not on the
fighting.
side.
Everybody has a military to defend what they have. Because if you don't defend it, even Tommy, your
Why are you
sidekick
trying to take
Batman
somebody
brother,
else's stuff?
calls for Africa to be able to defend
That's the
itself, to raise
question.
a military.
Why do you feel
When
you
I
have to
say
take
they should
somebody
give
else's
up their
stuff?
military and focus on humanitarian, Tom says no, they need to buy guns and be able to defend themselves. So even when I preach your socialist propaganda, even your sidekick doesn't agree with you. He said they need to be able to defend themselves.
You're a
Everybody
grown
is in
ass
that
man.
mindset.
Thomas a grown ass man. He can believe in whatever the hell he want to believe. As long and he read. I know the brother reads because I seen his ass by 20 articles a day. So I know he read in addition to whatever the hell else he read. But you, the limited information that you have, are you kidding me? And you're not reading anything, Jimmy, because you're just putting it out of the side of your neck, what you're saying. And then you continue to rant and you're not making any sense. You're talking around and around and around. You have no sources, no nothing.
You know what, Uncle Sar?
And let me
I
finish,
really feel for
and let me
you.
finish. You won't even let me finish. Let me finish.
Go
And
ahead.
you're a
Go ahead.
house Negro.
Oh, the house Negro. You know what? That's interesting. And I thank you for that comment because
I know you
that's
do.
how I know I'm winning an argument when it gets personal. When stupid people can't debate in the arena of
Yeah,
ideas,
right.
it gets
You
personal. They got
come
to go
on,
to
man.
name calling. So yes, Uncle. So I feel sorry for you because one, you'll never be smarter than me.
You feel
You'll never
sorry
be
for
as
me? Give me.
intelligent, and you'll never be as knowledgeable as I am.
Oh,
So
oh, I'm.
going on with this, go with the name calling. Yeah, I mean that's fine.
Folks, why don't we do this? It's 9 o'clock.
It
We have
is
hit
nine
the top of
o'clock.
the hour.
Because he
Once
talked the
you
whole
you
seven
you
We
minutes.
can
you had to
continue.
deal
We
with.
can continue this conversation
No,
next
there's nothing
week
to continue,
if we
Tom.
need to. Well, then let's
There
close.
is nothing to
Well,
continue.
then, Jr. Let's close this show out because we're getting back on the road. Let's go ahead and try to manage and be respectful of everybody's times and close this night's show.
Okay.
All right, folks, we want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I hope that you enjoyed the show, all things being considered, and of course, have a fantastic rest of the week. For those of you who, of course, in the Texas area, please be safe. I know it's a lot of rain out there and it's hailing, so y'all please be safe when you're driving. And we will, of course, look forward to seeing you next week because if it's Wednesday night,
It's certainly a
It's
black
House
man
Negro
speak.
night.
stop.
Give,
Stop.
give
Good night,
me
everyone.
give the clown show his last word. Go ahead. Go ahead, Uncle Sar.
Good night.
Good night.